Welcome back. If you were with me a little while ago, I finished the base of this bee wreath. And I'm back to finish it, add the sign, and add the ribbons. I'm just pulling up the live, making sure that we're good. Good. So if you were here earlier, welcome back. Thank you for coming back and joining me. I picked out a whole slew of ribbons here. Wasn't exactly sure what I was going to go with, so I have them kind of narrowed down, and I did bring some extras because I might add a bow, but that I will decide in the end to see if it needs it or not. So definitely going with these two bottom ones, 2.5-inch ribbons, and I'm thinking definitely this honeycomb. And I think I'm going to go with this one. I was going to go with this one, but I feel like I'm not feeling those yellows together. And I did like this one. I have a very similar bow in my Etsy shop using a few of these, but I thought that it was maybe a little too much tan. So I think these are the ones I'm going with. Final decision. All right, I'm going to put these extra ones on the side in case I do a bow. I can bring in some extra colors. So I'm not sure if I'm going to be, well, I am going to be offering it with both of them. So once I take my pictures for my Etsy shop, both of these will be put on the wreath and taken separately and made separate listings. But either one of these signs will go great with these ribbons. So this is what we made this morning. This is the poof technique with a top of cruffle. You can go back and watch the live for that. Now I'm going to take out my ribbon boards. I have a 13-inch ribbon board and a 12-inch ribbon boards. These are ones that I just made myself. Had my husband cut them down. You can also find ribbon boards in many Etsy shops or online. It just makes it easier to measure out accurately and quickly your ribbons. Now I'm going to do my 2.5-inch ribbons at 13-inch, and I'm going to cut 8 of them. I might need one more, I might need one less, but that's because the wreath frame that I used has an uneven number of ties on it. Normally that's not an issue because I make my own wreath frames with equal number of ties on it, but I wanted to use this up. It's a larger frame for these larger signs. So I'm counting 8 pieces of each one. You can see how quickly this goes. It's accurate. Let me know if you have these any of these ribbon tail boards. You're going to search them. You're going to type in ribbon tail boards, and you should find a couple of options. So for the 1.5-inch ribbons, I'm going to, what is that? That looks like a little, it just looks like a little black mark in it. It doesn't look like, I'm just going to chop that off. I don't know if that's part, no, it doesn't look like it's part of it. If it was a crease, I can easily just use my flat iron to get that out. So this is my 12-inch board. For the most part, I usually like to cut my 1.5-inch ribbons 12 inches. And my 2.5-inch ribbons are generally either 13 or 14 inches. So easy peasy. It's so much easier than individually measuring out each ribbon tail and then cutting it. Especially if you have multiples to make. Okay, so I have all of my ribbon tails cut. I usually do two 2.5-inch ribbons and two 1.5-inch ribbons on my wreaths. And I've cut them at a dovetail. You just fold it over and cut it at an angle. That nice finished look. You don't have to do this. Some people don't. Some people just cut it at a, they leave it as is, or they will just cut it at a straight angle. This is my preference. I usually like to just do 3, maybe 4 ribbons at a time so that I make sure I get a nice sharp angle. I only use wired ribbon. If you use the unwired ribbon, it's not going to hold shape in your wreath. They won't stand at attention. I bought a lot of that because they looked pretty, or it had a nice design, was a pretty color, not knowing when I was a new wreath maker. And almost 7 years later, most of that is still sitting in my basement. Now I've learned to just, when I make gift packages, gift baskets, I'll use it for that. So I took a little bit of a break because I wanted to go pick out my ribbons, give everybody a break, because it can be, these larger wreaths can take a little bit longer. And I wanted to switch my laundry. You always got to multitask. So folding it over, just getting that nice clean cut. Some of these are newer ribbons this year from Sam's Club. Some are from last year. Some are from, one might have been from a D-stash. Another one might have been from online purchases. Just want to make sure that you're using quality ribbon. So just cleaning up my mess. I'm using the magnet, I'm using the scissor as a magnet, and it's picking up all of the sharp pieces of metal from the ribbons so that they don't end up on the floor and in my foot or my dog's foot, because that doesn't feel good. Okay, so now what I want to do is to see which ribbons I want to pair up. I always put a 2.5 inch with a 1.5 inch. So I'm just seeing how they look together. Yep, I think I like that. I like spreading out the yellow between the two patterns. So that's what we're gonna go with. Put the sign on the side. I'm gonna take the two ribbons, line them up in the middle, fold it over, and pinch the middle so that I know my ribbon tails are of equal length. Pinch the middle and add it in to any of the pipe cleaners on the outside and give it 2 or 3 twists. And I like to spread out my ribbons. Now that was pattern 1. This is pattern 2. This is a little long. I just want to, whoop, I can push that back in. There we go. Didn't come out the back. Let me just trim that. It's got like a little curve on the edge that it keeps snagging me. Line it up, fold it over, pinch the middle, and add it to the next outside pipe cleaner. So in this wreath, I do a set of ribbons in every single tie. On some of my other designs, you'll see in my other videos, I skip them. So it really depends on the style of wreath that I'm doing. Each one is a little different. Not everybody might do it my way, but this is my way. So that's why it's nice to watch different wreath makers. This looks good to my eye. I'm spacing out the material. And you can see how these colors are all going really nicely with the yellow, with the tan, with the black and white. Wow, you guys are really quiet out there today. Are you all working? Maybe you're cleaning and listening. Sometimes I do that. I'll be cleaning the house or doing whatever and just listening to crafting videos or organizing videos. And I always love a polka dot wreath, ribbon. Doesn't matter what color, they're so cute. So I took a week off, not of working. I still made all of my orders that I needed to ship out on my Etsy shop and locally. But I took a week off of doing YouTube videos because my kids were off last week. So that was fun. We went to the beach a couple of times. My son got the pass for his truck, his first year with his truck, to be able to go on the beach. So that was fun, driving right on the beach and be able to just throw the line in the water. Okay, so this is the problem with these pre-made wreaths, oftentimes from the local craft stores. You can see this is an odd number on the outside. It probably has 9 on the outside. So now I have to decide which 2 ribbons are going to sit next to each other. And usually it doesn't matter, but I will try to either position this on the very top or the very bottom of where the sign is, and it kind of distracts your eye. Maybe most people wouldn't notice it. But if you're a wreath maker, that's why I prefer to make my own frames or buy them online instead of the local craft stores. I don't know why they've made them like this, but it's not like it's a fluke. It's been like this for all the years that I've been making wreaths. So you don't want to just leave it without anything, because that's going to be, I think, a little bit more noticeable. So I chose these two. They'll either be right on top or right on the bottom. And I'm going to, let's see, which one am I going to put here? I think I'm going to put this one here. And you can see I'm spreading them out. Some people leave them stacked on top of each other, but I chose the ribbons. They have pretty patterns. I want to fill out the wreath and show off the pattern of the ribbons. So I just spread them and give them a little curve. I always twist them 2 or 3 times. I'm pretty much done with the ties at this point. Sometimes I'll go back in and I'll add some tubing to it or a floral. I don't think the wreath is going to need that. So I will just trim them down. If you have any questions, leave them in the chat. I'm not seeing any chats come up. I'm not seeing any comments. I don't know if that's a YouTube thing. Sometimes there's a delay, but I will go back and check. And it looks like we're going to be in the same situation. So there was uneven on the outside and uneven on the inside. Sometimes on the inside, you'll have an even number, but not on this one. So let's see. This is where I would put my bow. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to move this one over to here. Close that up. So now I can't leave that empty space like that. So here is where you're going to put either a bow or an embellishment, just to kind of fill in that area. I feel like there's too much of a gap if I left that empty. So we're going to add a bow. Now I cut this extra one. I'll put it on the side. Sometimes I will put it in there if I feel like the bow needs a little bit of support, but I think it should be fine. Okay, so let's cut off. Now you can see, so that's going to be really cute. And I just want to check the other side, see how it's looking. Yes, that's going to be really cute too. Really cute. Okay. For now, I am going to cut off this bow here. I do not use this. I don't trust it. It doesn't lay nice. But I think for now I'm just going to work with this sign. This has got a nice support. This has got a nice wire. I can use this. Grabbing some pipe cleaners and my staple gun. This is nice thick. It's a nice thick sign, so I don't have to worry about it going through. And normally what I would do is I would take a zip tie and attach it to the frame, but because I'm just going to swap out the signs, I'm going to just wrap it around the frame for now. So I'm taking my pipe cleaners and I'm going right through the mesh. And I'm tying it onto my frame. Same thing for the other side, right through the mesh. You want to make sure that you're tying it onto the frame to give it support so it's not going to move around. I like going through the mesh because it also gives it support. I'm putting it right on top of, I'm not pulling it down real tight. I don't want to squash my mesh. So it's just sitting right on top. So just for now, because I'm going to be swapping out the signs and I want to make my life easier to take my pictures, I'm just taking that top wire and just kind of attaching it to the sign, to the frame. All right, let's get rid of these extra the extra twist ties here. We don't need this. Doesn't really do much for the design, so I'm trimming them down just a little bit above where I twisted it on the inside and the outside. This is so cute for a spring wreath, for a summer wreath. And this will be a big statement on someone's front door for sure. These are popular. They've been popular for the past couple of years. And they make really cute wreaths, so I love the yellow and the black. All right. So this is what we have right now. Isn't that cute so far? And we're just going to make the bow. So I'm going to put this aside for a minute. Grab my easy bow maker. Do you use a bow maker? Do you make your bows by hand? What do you do? I have all the bow makers, the Bow Dabra, the Easy Bow Maker, the Pro Bow of the Hand, and I always come back to this. I just find that it's easy to work with, makes a consistent bow, easy to store. All right. And I have lots and lots of bow making videos. So I'm going to make about a 10-inch loop. Sorry, a 10-inch tail. And the bow doesn't need to be gigantic, so I'm going to do just about a 5-inch loop, because I don't want to take away from the sign. I'm just kind of filling in a hole. So we're going to keep it simple. We're going to do 2 loops of 5 inches on each side. Again, you can go back and watch my other videos, my other lives, the other videos on how to use the Easy Bow Maker. I go step by step, nice and slow. I always put a straight pin to hold it so it's not coming apart when I store them. I'm gonna actually do something a little different. I want to bring in this one. I want to bring in a little bit of a bold color. So it's going to break up the tan. I didn't want tan on top of each other. So I'm coming in a little shorter at about 4.5 inches. And I just want 1 loop of that. Now I'm going to come in with this B ribbon. And I'll do 2 smaller loops of that. This is probably about 4 inches now. You want to graduate them down so that you see your underlying layers. Each bow I make is a little bit different, a different recipe. Okay, so we have 2, 1, 2. And I think we're going to finish it off with this one. Or, nope, that would match too much. I'm going to go with this one. It's okay to change your mind. That's why I like to bring some extra ribbons out. Because sometimes I change my mind on what I thought it was going to look like. But I want a little yellow punch. Let's see, do I want to do 1 loop? Yep, I'm going to just do 1 loop. I was debating on doing, this will be a center loop bow. I was debating on doing 1 on each side, but I want to do a center loop. Okay, so we have all of our ribbons all stacked up. Now I'm going to spread out my ribbons, 1 up, 1 down. This one will stay in the middle, 1 up, 1 down. This is going to be my center loop. So I like to fluff and space out my loops before I secure it. So I have multiple signs for each of these, so this will be a multiple in my shop. I'm going to grab an 8-inch zip tie. I'm going to come all the way under my layers and up the middle. and secure it. Okay, so I'm going to lift it up. I'm going to secure it a little bit more, but not completely. I'm going to take the zip tie, move it to the back, secure it a little bit. I'm going to take another pipe cleaner and thread it underneath. Now I can secure that really tight. I prefer using the zip ties. It's easier for me to work with. Once I secure that, I know my bow's not going anywhere. So I'm going to take my pipe cleaner and hold it like a handle, and I will start fluffing out my loops, releasing them from the middle, giving them a nice curve. This I'm going to spread out my center loop. I'm going to give my center tail a twist and move it over to this side. Isn't that a cute little bow? In fact, I will probably list this also in my Etsy shop, just the bow. Now I'm going to take my tails and just cut it at an angle. You can do that dovetail like I did on the ribbons, but for my bows, I tend to just like to cut them at an angle. Let's make room for the wreath to come back. Let's scooch that out of there. So I'm just going to add it right into this hole. And again, we're doing this because this is a frame that already had the ties on it from Hobby Lobby, and it came with an uneven number of ties, which it often does. So this just fills it in nicely. Let's get that up there. So here is the finished wreath with that beautiful bow, that adorable sign. You can see how thick it is. This is probably about 26 to 28 inches at this point, and probably about 8 to 9 inches in depth. So it turned out really cute. I will also take a picture of it. Sorry. With this sign. And you can get an idea. That's going to be another really cute option for my Etsy shop. So I hope this helped and you learned something. If you have any questions, leave them down below. If you want to see what's in my Etsy shop, craftytherapybyl.etsy.com. This will be listed once I get all of the pictures taken in probably an hour or so. I ship out every day. If you found this helpful, please subscribe. And I hope to be back on probably Wednesday, making another new design. Have a great afternoon. Thanks for joining.